price. Now, what you can do is your data for your Y values went down, then barely went up, but then went down pretty significantly. So there's a big data gap. So went down significantly. I'm going to put the Y values. Went down significantly. And so based on that, it's going to be exponential. If you plot your points, it would look like this, which is exponential decay. And then you got to do your regression. So remember, like before, you go to list and spreadsheet, and then type X here, type Y there, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually, whoa. This is a little unusual. 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4. Okay, so that's your data. So apparently for one particular age, you can get more than one answer. And then this is 27,750. 26,550. 22,650. 23,150. 17,950. And 16,950. And 16,500. Okay. So now let's do exponential regression. It does show the two dots on top of each other, you know, at these two spots. Or 3 spots. Yeah. So if we go to exponential regression, it's menu 41A. Menu 41A is exponential regression. And then you put X here, Y here. And so this is basically your answer. They want a whole number. Well, I mean, it's multiple choice, but they want a whole number for the first value because that's the initial value. And then the B part is the 0.847 to the X. So this is A equal 31,761.8. And then the B was 0.84703. Therefore, they put it like this, with the whole number in front, and then they have that as the base to the X. And so it would be the one sloping down. Now there are two sloping down, and so just be careful about that. Look at your data. And then for 5 years old, what you could probably do is go to your new page, and it already has this typed in. I'm just going to enable it by doing a check mark. I guess I have to press enter to do that. Yeah. And then go to your table to number 5, and you get your answer. Now, notice when I did that, I was too accurate. So use the multiple choice formula, not the detailed F1. So in other words, if I go back to F1, I got to change this to just be a 2, and I need to change this to just be 847. And then you go to your table to number 5, and you get 13,846.01. They just want the 13,846. So that's how you can do it. Or just do 31762 times 0.847 to the 5th power, because it's that 5. Okay, so one option was use the table with x equal 5. The other option is just type in that formula to the 5th power, and you round to the whole number. Okay, so for number 11, here we're back to getting a common denominator. No, we're multiplying. Okay. Oh, this is the one with all those little formulas. So this one is the sum of 2 cubes. So that'd be the w plus z, and then the w squared minus wz plus z squared. This is the difference of 2 cubes. So this is the w minus z, w squared minus plus wz plus z squared. This one was the difference of 2 squares. So w minus z is w plus z. And this is just the factoring one, w plus z squared, or w plus z, w plus z. Now, let's see what happens with that. So what happens with that is this w minus z cancels with this one. This w plus z cancels with that one. And this w plus z cancels with that one. And so you basically are left with that, which is right here. It's the exact same thing. Okay, now on this one, you're going to want to graph the denominator. Get your x int, which are called the zeros. So we have 3x squared plus 14x minus 5. So I bet one of these is 1/3 or 2/3, just based on the 3. Remember, there's that concept of potential zeros. Well, it's based on the coefficient. So I'm just going to say if it's 3a squared, it's probably 1/3 or 2/3, or plus or minus. Okay, because I don't want to like say it's always something, but based on the 3, I'm pretty confident that one of them is one of the zeros, based on potential zeros. So let's figure it out. If you go to 0 in the graph, from here to here, that is a positive 1/3. I know it has 1/4 at the end. You got to just ignore that. So the 0.3 repeat means 1/3. Well, it means 3 nines because anytime it's a repeating number, it'd be like over 9. So it's 3 nines, but we always reduce that to 1/3. Just like 0.6 repeat would be 6 nines, which we reduce to 2/3, and so on. But that's just telling you one of the zeros is 1/3. Now, is there another? Yeah, it's over here at the whole number -5. So this one was 1/3 and 5. Now, what we've said before is 1/3 means it's going to be like 3x minus 1 when you factor it. You change your sign from positive to negative, and your denominator turns into your coefficient. Okay, and then if it were 5, then it's going to be x minus 5. Okay, so let's rewrite these. The first one we have is a minus 2, and this one we'll call 3a minus 1 and a minus 5. All right, now we're going to have a minus, and we have a plus 1. And I would imagine on this problem, because I've seen it a few times, you're also going to have another 3a minus 1. But let's just prove it. So if we go to tab and change this to 3x squared minus 22x and plus 7, then you have it like that. It was still the 1/3, but then it's also something else. You could even go to the table if you really want to, and you'd see it's at 7. So this is 1/3 comma 7. So that's the 3a minus 1, a minus 7. So now you need your common denominator, because if we're adding or subtracting, that's what you do. That's how we roll. And this one is missing the a minus 7, so we need a minus 7. And this one is missing the a minus 5. So then you do your FOIL. First comes first. And then you have negative 7a minus 2a is negative 9a. Then negative 2 times negative 7 is positive 14. And then for this one, we've got a squared minus 5a plus a is minus 4a. And then minus 5. It's over that same denominator. I'm not going to rewrite it. A squared minus 9a plus 14. Now I am going to distribute your minus sign, so that's minus a squared plus 4a, and then plus 5. Then this and this cancels, and you have negative 9a plus 4a is negative 5a, and 14 plus 5 is 19. And then I'll go ahead and write it again. 3a minus 1, a minus 5, a minus 7. So that's that answer. I gotta look at this for a second. Okay, so what I caught was a sign mistake. On this first one, we have a plus 14, but a minus 5. And so that means this 5 has to be plus. And so anywhere I had a 5, I needed it to be a plus. And so now it's a minus. So that makes this back part 14 minus 5, which is 9. And this is a plus. So when I change this to a plus, then the middle term should change to 6a, because I'm doing 5a plus a is 6a. So this needs to be a plus 6a. Well, now it's minus 6a. So negative 9 minus 6a is negative 15a. Okay. So that's how you do that one, and that does match. I could help people in person if I need to. I just made a little sign mistake, which trickled down some errors. Okay, on this one, we rationalize the numerator, so that means square root of 24 on top and bottom. And so if you have the same thing, then just put 24. It's not worth multiplying it out. And then put 6 square root of 24 down here. Now, actually, I see a better way to do that. What I would prefer actually is keeping it as square root of 24 times square root of 24, so one of them cancels. And so, oh, hello. I just got back to where I was. Okay. So this would be 24 over 6 square root of 24. So 24 divided by 6 is 4. And then we can break down this part to 4 times 6. And so square root of 4 times square root of 6. So that gives us 4 over 2 square root of 6, which is then 2 over square root of 6. And so that's how that one works. Okay, now on this one, what you need to do is realize that your numerator answer is just going to be that number. And so how would we get it? We would multiply by 10 squared over 10 squared. So that would be like the cube root of 10 cubed, which is 10. And this would be 7 times 100. So the cube root of 700. So make sure y'all use like n square root of x, like that. It's called the nth root. Okay, so there's 14. Number 15, what you do is set your denominator equal to 0 to get your asymptotes that are vertical. So set each part equal to 0, so x squared minus 9 equals 0. And so you get plus and minus 3, and do x squared minus 25 equals 0. So x squared is 25, and you get plus and minus 5. Then they do want them in order from left to right, and so that's why you do negative 5, negative 3, 3, 5. But make sure you put your x equal for all. So the idea is if this term is 0, then x squared minus 9 is 0. And if this term is 0, then x squared minus 25 is equal to 0. So that's why that would work out that way. Now on this one, we need our x-intercepts. And so this is where you set your numerator equal to 0. So 4 minus x squared equals 0, so 4 is x squared. So then x would be the square root of 4 plus and minus. So that's plus and minus 2. And so they just want it as 2 and negative 2. Now for your y-intercept, remember that's 0 comma a number. So that means set x equal to 0. So you have 4 minus 0 squared over 0 squared minus 9. And so that just simply turns into -4/9. So you're basically going to use your numbers in there. And then for the vertical asymptotes, that's where you set your denominator equal to 0. So x squared minus 9 equals 0 means you're going to have plus and minus 3. And again, put x equal. For your horizontal asymptote, go back to your original 4 minus x squared over x squared minus 9. Well, I will rewrite that and then cross something out. So whenever you're getting the horizontal asymptote, and if it's the ratio of the same power, you're not going to use your 4 or -9. You're basically going to think negative x squared over x squared, which is -1. And then you get that. So that's when you have your ratio of exponents. Are the same. So if it were, just as a reminder, if it's 1 over x, your horizontal asymptote would be y equals 0, which is called proper. This is just normal, where you do your ratio. So if the degree in the numerator is smaller, then it's going to be at 0, which is the x-axis. Okay, so our graph for this is going to look like this because it dipped down to -1, and it's symmetric at the -3 and +3. So that's how you get that. Okay, now on this one, you're plugging in your number into x. So you have 8 minus 7 over 8 plus 1, so that's 1/9. On this one, you're doing 7 minus 7 over 7 plus 1. So that's 0 over 8, so you just put 0. This one, if you're doing -1 minus 7 over -1 plus 1, it would give you -8 over 0, which does not exist. It's called undefined. Cannot divide by 0. Now this one, you just got to do your math. -13.25 minus 7 over -13.25 plus 1. The only tricky part about that is make sure you use parentheses. -13.25 minus 7 divided by -13.25 plus 1. So that gives us 1.65306. And we want 3 decimal places, and so based on the 0 we round down, so it's 1.653. Now for this one we do x plus h, so that just means change x to x plus h, and there's really no math with that. Okay. Now on this one, we're doing g of 0, and so it's going to be 0 over square root 25 minus 0 squared. So that's 0 over 5, which is 0. And now for -5, that'd be -5 over the square root of 25 minus. Make sure you do parentheses -5 squared, because that should give you a 25, not a negative when you square it. And since we're doing minus of that, you get negative 5 over 0, which does not exist. Now, on the 7, what we do is we say 7 over the square root of 25 minus 7 squared. So that's 7 over the square root, 25 minus 49. So then 25 minus 49 gives you negative 24, and that's imaginary. And so that's not a real number. And then for this one, you go with 3/2 over the square root, 25 minus 3/2 squared. So 25 minus parentheses 3/2 squared is 91/4. Now, remember when we worked this on the homework, we would split it into square root of 91 over the square root of 4, which is 2, and then these cancel. So you get 3 over square root of 91. Or you could rationalize it, so 3 square root of 91 over 91. We've done lots of rationalizing this year. Rationalizing with trig, and anytime you had a square root on bottom. Now on this one, we're doing x plus h to x, so it's 3, and then x plus h minus 7. Okay, so when you distribute your 3, you get 3x plus 3h, and then minus 7. Now, when you have that, and you subtract your f of x, this is f of x plus h minus f of x. What you're going to have is a bunch of terms canceling. 3x plus 3h minus 7 minus 3x plus 7. So this one and this one cancels, and this cancels. So you're just left with 3h for your answer. And then you divide that by h, and so you just get the number. So the number in front is your slope of the linear equation. So that's how that is related. Okay, so that's number 19. Number 20. We're going to do something similar on this. 2 times x plus h squared minus 8 times x plus h plus 8. So that's 2, and then x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. And then distribute the negative 8. So remember, we're just doing FOIL like normal. X times x is x squared. You multiply your inside and double it, and then h squared. Okay, now you want to distribute your 2. So 2x squared plus 4xh plus 2h squared, and then subtract this. And at this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. That's it. Now you want to write that down again, except you're subtracting. I'm actually just going to do it down here. 2x squared minus 8x, and then plus 8. So if we're subtracting, then you can change it to add a negative. So this one gives you 0, this one gives you 0, and this one gives you 0. And so what you're left with is 4xh. I put x in front. It doesn't really matter. It would count it right either way. Plus 2h squared minus 8h. And now you divide that by h. And so it's just 4x plus 2h minus 8. So you see how I just lined that up vertically and then cancel these. Okay, now on this one, we've got the x cubed is reflected in the x-axis. So that's negative x cubed. And it's shifted 4 units to the right. So right 4 means x minus 4. And then we say down 2. Whoops, this is a 4 cubed minus 2. And so that gives you your answer. So that's the sequence they want. They want to do this first, they want to do this second, and they want you to do that third. And then you graph it, and if it's reflected, it's going to be backwards, not forwards. And then if it's right 4, then it's got to be this one, because this one looks left 4. Okay, number 22. So on this one, we're doing h of g of f of 2. So do f of 2 first, because it's closest to the number. So negative 5 times 2 minus 1. That's negative 10 minus 1, which is negative 11. Now we need to do g of negative 11. And so that'd be negative 11 squared minus 2, or say 121 minus 2, which is 119. And then you do h of 119. So that's 119 minus 5 over 3. So 114 over 3. 114 divided by 3 gives you 38. So that's how you get that one. Okay, and then for this one, it just wants you to piece it together so that it's f of g of x. And so you got to think x minus 7 over x plus 7 is going to be your f function. And then the g function is going to be x to the 4th. Okay, and on this one, remember division in natural log means minus. So this would be a positive ln2 minus ln7 from your denominator minus ln x to the 7th, which we change to like that, 7 ln x, because if you have an exponent, then it goes in front, and then minus ln y. So it's natural log, or you could be fancy. Logarithmic naturalis. That's Italian, or actually Latin then. Okay, then for this one, we can say that it's log b to the 5th c to the 1/2 power. And so what we do is we put our half in front, and then the next part is you got to remember multiply means add. In log terms or expressions. And so that means you can say 1/2 log B5 plus 1/2 log C. And then just like that other one, if you have an exponent, it has to go in front, so that turns into 5/2. Log B plus 1/2 log C. So that's how that works. And on this one, it wants you to solve it algebraically. You probably graph it, because graphing is one form of algebra. Now make sure you use the Control 10 to the X button, and then you got to put in your base, and then we have x plus 5. Then do the next one. So that's F1. F1 is your left side, and F2 is your right side, and find where they intersect. So this one is log base 5 of x. So it's right there, and menu, analyze, intersect. Oh, I wrote this wrong. This should be a 24. And, okay, then that'll work out. Okay, so when I typed it right, then I got the answer. It's 3 comma 0.6826, so forth. And so the 3 is your answer. The other way was to change it, if you need to see this. This is the last problem. If we had minus, it would have been divide. So we'd say log base 5 s plus 24 over s plus 6 equal log base 5 of s. Then we get rid of our log base 5s. So it's s plus 24 over s plus 6 equal s. And then you multiply by s plus 6. And so that gives you s plus 24 equal s squared plus 6s. Then you keep your s squared positive and do 6s minus s is 5s. And then bring your 24 over, so it's minus 24. So when you factor it, it's x plus 8, x minus 3, which means negative 8 and 3 are your answers, but only use your positive answer. only use your positive. So 3 is your answer. The reason is because your graph for both of them are not over here, only for one of them. And nothing happened at -8. They were both undefined at -8. See, it says error. Okay, so that'd be it. Hope that helps.